are there different laws for different sets of Nigerians in Nigeria? Why does the minister have to go through the chief of defense staff on an issue concerning a civilian like you and I? And even if it's a military person, the issue has to do with land under the domicile of the Minister of FCT. Like I said, they came to my land on Sunday, and security people refused to open the gate for them because on Sunday, why are you coming here? And because of that, they came on Tuesday to put stop work notice. And the minister came himself. I was not here. But knowing what had been going on in FCT, I simply forwarded all my titles, every document I had concerning this, and simply got a response that my people gave me wrong information. End of matter. Now, this matter has been going on for some time, to my understanding. To my understanding, officials of FCD and Environment Control went there and were stopped from doing their legitimate duties. Now, if you were the one in question, and they came to your place, and you stopped them, within an hour, probably bulldozers will be there, and they will demolish your property, they do all sorts of things within their capacity. They will do that because you are a bloody civilian. Not so. Why should there be a different set of laws for us? I was horrified when I was hearing director saying he had text message exchanges with the officer. And I said to myself, so we are different animals in this country. That's what it means. And what worries me is that Nigerians cannot see the fact that they are saying to them that they are big men and they are small men and that different laws apply to us all. You can't all see this. That's my worry. That is about the person of Wike himself as against the fact that your laws, your constitution have been trampled upon. It happened to me and I reacted because I said, I don't want to wait for anything to happen. Let me send my documents. I don't know what he's acting upon. No words, nothing was exchanged. I didn't call the minister. I have no relationship with him, so to say. So I just made sure he had my documents. So if he's acting on anything, let him see my documents. In this case, the facts available to us, the land is a park and recreation land, no valid document, no valid approval. Now, a person in the capacity of a former service chief, you could simply have reached out to the minister, like your advisor should reach out to the minister and said, Ogao, this is my land. I was misled. Just like Mr. Wike said yesterday. How can you help me with this? Just like happens with so many people in FCT. Because many of us are victims of land grabbers in FCT. Just like many of us are victims of so-called people who are renting out houses and rent out fake houses to us and all of those things. And you reach out and say, please, how can you assist me? I have a problem here. And they see how they can do that. But how do you use the force of law? And you say to me, a decommissioned officer, or an officer no longer under commission, because commission is the acting on the orders of the president of Nigeria. As a retired general, you no longer have that commission. How do you, an officer who has that commission, say that you took your orders from someone who has retired, and you see the chief security officer of FCT in front of you? You can say an officer wearing a uniform, because we have many people wearing fake uniforms today. You can say you cannot even recognize him to be an officer. But in this case, you are seeing the minister himself that you know is the minister. And you say you don't recognize him, you cannot take orders from him. I know in FCT you have State Security Council, where you have an army commandant, where you have the DSS, state commander of DSS, you have the police commissioner and all those things. So they have that meeting because they recognize Wike as the chief security officer of FCT. How do you say you see him and he went there as a good boss because his workers' rights have been trampled upon? He said that they can't give you access. They are doing their legitimate duties. Some people will not go there. And I say, okay, I'm talking to Chief of Defense Staff. But why are you talking to the Chief of Defense Staff? Will you talk to Chief of Defense Staff when it concerns you, when it concerns any other person? It's about laws. So, those of us who are commoners, common men, the law is what equates all of us in this country called Nigeria. And we cannot accept a situation where the law is trampled upon. That's what worries me. That's what sickens me when I see the social media reaction. Wicked is wicked. It's not about Wike. Wike can be termed a bully, you can say Wike is garrulous, whatever you want to say about Wike, but Wike is acting in the capacity of the Minister of FCT. When he stands representing the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That's what's at stake here. Now, ask a valid question. If it was another minister, would the reaction have been the same? 2 days before this, the media, you all reported that in Anambra State, soldiers shot policemen coming from election duties. Where is this moral indignation from Nigerians? The same Minister of Defense who spoke to criticize his colleague, where is his statement? I don't know Nigerian public officials could react so fast to an issue. They are all releasing statements. Because everybody wants to jump on the bandwagon of what is seemingly popular. Is everything seemingly popular? Is it right? My worry is that because we are all sanctioning an illegality, it's my property can come in tomorrow, and any general can take over my property, and I don't have recourse to law because you tell them not to obey court orders. They can go to anybody, and you are telling me I need to speak to Minister of Defense, I need to speak to Chief of Defense Staff to access my land. That's absolutely. And the issue is, we need to go back to the drawing board. What's the issue at stake? The land has no valid documentation. Whatever happens in instances like this should happen. If the minister has discretion on what he chooses to do with the matter concerning the land, concerning the officer, what applies in situations like this under military law, under civilian law, whatever needs to happen should happen. But my warning to Nigerians is this: if you allow a situation like this, because you say you hate this minister, tomorrow you have sanctioned any amount of illegality by military officials, by military officers on civilians. You have sanctioned it. We are in a democracy, a civilian dispensation. Where does military law and rights end, and where does civilian authority begin in a democracy? We must be very, very clear about this. I'm happy to notice that today I also see that people like Falana, Agbakoba are all speaking up now, because everybody's wondering, what's going on here? We're all watching when people are celebrating something like this. I'm happy that people are now reacting, because everybody was saying, wait a minute, especially when you see the minister's colleagues all jumping on the bandwagon to say that they're supporting this illegality. Your colleague was humiliated whilst carrying out his official duties, and you're supporting that illegality, saying that he ought to have reached out to the Chief of Defense Staff before he carries out his duties. The reality for me is this: I, as Dumebi Kachiku, if I was the one in that office and I see all this rubbish going on and there's no official communication from my boss or the presidency on this matter, I would simply have resigned. It's not a do or die affair. I will not stay 1 second and let my colleagues rubbish me, or let a military officer rubbish me in the course of carrying out my official duties. I will not do it. I will never do it. So the president must address this issue immediately.